elements of collective impact. Now we're going to talk about what the 5 elements of collective impact actually looks like in each community. Tracy, could you tell us how the backbone organization looks in your community?
Sure, Carrie. So initially we talked about what the role of the backbone would be. I'm from the Mental Health and Recovery Board at Clark Green Madison, and so prior to actually the initiative starting, we thought about it was a natural sort of role that we play in a community. So often boards, and in our case, we convene a lot of folks across systems. So it felt like a natural fit for the collective impact process or project for us to be a backbone organization. We didn't really know what that meant and how that was different from how we were practicing prior to the collective impact initiative, but began thinking about, well, how do we know it's working and what role do we actually play? So it's beyond just convening folks. It's kind of holding up the process of the collective impact initiative. So it's the central nervous system of the project. So we had to begin looking at, well, how do we do that? So it's convening folks, it's thinking about the collective impact elements and holding the process accountable. So through how we share measurements and data, how we hold up the key elements of the key element of continuous communication. So what does that look like? What is it going to look like for our project? How do you know it's working? It's really aligning the strategies and vision with the project and the initiative. So how do we know it's working? Beginning to think about what the outputs of that are and how people are working, aligning the shared measurements and the vision and strategy. So I think we didn't really know what the backbone role was going to be until we started moving through it and learning more about it. And it's in our community, it's really kind of holding people true to the process of the collective impact initiative.
Amanda, what does shared measurement look like in your community?
Yeah, so originally we found that, in the past, our community partners were very reluctant to share their data. They kind of kept hold of it pretty tight because they weren't sure how it was going to be used and how it was going to make them look. And we found through this process that we really actually kind of created a culture of data sharing, which has been really nice. And this was not an easy process. When we initially threw out that question of, hey, give us your data, no one responded to our email. And so it was really hard at first. We're like, well, we know that people have data. Where is it? Why aren't they sending it to us? And so we had to go through the process of learning how to ask the right questions to get what we needed. And so once we really figured out that process of how to frame the question, all of that data really started to flow in, which was really nice. And then kind of in addition to all of that, I think that once we identified those key data indicators that we were going to follow on the different strategic plan maps, it really has helped us to not only know but also share what the doing is actually doing, and that's been a big help through this process.
Joanna, what does a common agenda look like in your community?
So to start with, whenever we're doing any kind of group work or team projects, one of the keys to success is that everyone understands the strategy we're going to follow and what role each person will play. So the common agenda for our community consists of our strategic plan maps, which give a picture of what our strategy will be, hence the name. Our theory of change, which helps to encompass the rationale and again the key players, as well as our ecosystem, which highlights our key players and potential players. So within our community, what we found is that our common agenda is something that is written out in these documents. It is transferable to new participants in the initiative, which can be either newly engaged partners or folks such as myself who ended up joining midway through. What that allows us to do is to refer to the documents to see what the history is and what the future is supposed to look like. Then each person can identify what their role will be and how they'll play that role within the team.
Christy, what does continuous communication look like in your community?
Continuous communication for us actually has many levels to it. The basic form of it is constantly sharing information with the organizations involved.